Right guys, hi there, Cliff here. Now, I've had this idea. I mentioned on the comment section for the little ASG glider that it'd be rather fun to scale it up. Now, Ludwig commented on that comment to say if I was serious, he'd like to do the same. So, as I'm kind of like between models, I thought it might be an idea to actually do that. Now, I've done some calculations. I'm not the best person at calculating, but here's my drawing. Now, I've done some measurements, and the biggest I can get out of a sheet of 5mm foam board is going to be govern the fuselage length, which is going to be 805mm long. Don't ask me what that is in inches. I've measured it in millimeters. So anyway, it's 805, which this board's about 840, so that's going to be okay. The wingspan, total wingspan, is going to be 1,350, which is about 58 inch, something like that. Not a bad size. Now, I'm thinking whether that foam board will be too heavy, I don't know, but what I'm really interested in doing is making that little plywood construction right in the middle. I've made a start on transferring the shape to the paper. I've drawn a datum line, which includes the wing leading and trailing edges, and all my measurements are taken from that datum line, taken off of the fuselage. Just finished drawing up the fin area, then I'll get the French curves on the fuselage, get that looking nice. So after lots of careful measurement, I've got the straight lines in. I now have to start putting in the delicate curves of the nose cone. So take it about there, I think. And then I'll put the curve in a minute. So that's the top curve. There. All of these measurements are just taken off of the fuselage. So, yeah. 1 English penny, curve there, and okay, after much measuring and rubbing out and remeasuring and more rubbing out, I finally got the wing drawn. I've got the crease lines and the carbon rod line, tail planes in, fuselage and fin and rudder. Quite happy with that. Now I can start cutting out a foam board. No, I can't. Before I do any of that, I'm going to have a go at the mechanism, because I want to make sure that it's going to fit inside the fuselage. So I want to build the mechanism first, the plywood parts, and find some servos and what have you. Then I can cut out the foam. I've got the pivot now. I've got a dummy motor fixed on the top, and that's going to pivot down to there like that and pop into the fuselage. I couldn't organise that until I sussed out what motor I'm going to get, and the motor is inline in-runner from formax.co.uk. Quite a nice little motor, hopefully not too big. We'll see when it arrives. Thought you might like to see some progress. I've got, that's the MinimumRC version of the Pylon pivot, and here's my version, slightly blown up, pretty much identical though, of the Pylon pivot. The motor is going to be this one. It's an in-runner which I picked up from George over at formax.co.uk, and I wanted an in-runner, of course, because it had to match that. So that will sit up there. I'll put a cable tie around as well as gluing it in, and I'll run the cables down exactly the same as on the MinimumRC model. So that's what I've been beavering away at for the last few hours. Works very well. It's brass bushed, of course, and that's going to sit show you there. Look, that's going to sit in the model like that. Let's get up. It's going to sit there and extend to there, as I've drawn. In fact, that'll be like that in the model. I wanted to get that bit made because I'm thinking I'm going to make the fuselage out of balsa. It'll be the same profile sort of fuselage, very thin. I was thinking sheet, but then I thought it might look rather nice built up stringers, and possibly sheet the front. I'm not sure yet. See how I get on, see what I decide, but quite pleased with that bit so far. So I've just put the motor, I've cut a front, and I tend to glue that on like that and then run a cable tie around, and I think that'll hold it quite well. And then the leads will come down just like the original to a speed controller. May need to extend them, we'll see. The motor, of course, is from 4Max, hence the logo on the top. Lovely little motor, actually. It's an in-runner, but beautiful. I love it. So I've drawn up where it goes on the fuselage. I've drawn the 3 holes I'm going to make for the wing to slot into. Oh, I've cut the central dihedral brace, which was same as the original, and that fits into the fuselage like heavy. Excuse me. That fits like that, so that will be on top of the fuselage, and that will be in the fuselage, and the wings go up either side, obviously, and that will sit on the plan just there. It'll go up to there. Where are we? There. And it'll fold down to there. What I've done so far is to strip up some 1/4 inch balsa into about 4mm strips, and I'm just putting them in, bending them around, just making them damp just to go around there. Pins in to hold them in the various places, and I've just put a little bit of glue on the open grain of the 4 ends, and I'm just going to put them back in. So I'm using the aliphatic resin white glue, and that will just go in there, push it back like that. Same with that one, push it in, take it up like that. I think I need another pin on there just to hold that at a good position. There. Make sure it's nice and tight and down. That's that end done. This end, that piece there, is a little tip for you. There's a very slight angle on the bottom piece of the cut and flat at the top. Once you've got your glue on, it's very difficult to see what goes where. So what I do is just put a little, like, I don't know if you'll see that, a tiny little black dot there on the end, and I know exactly which way that faces, and therefore I'm able to make sure it goes in exactly the same way. So that's just going to go in there like that. Now that's the outer edge done. I now have to decide exactly where. I haven't marked it, I'm just going to eyeball them in. There's certain ones have to go in certain places, and I'll work back from there. So it's all the cross braces stuck in, the 3 slots for the wing root, and the separate construction for the hatch. Is tomorrow I'll probably build the fuselage side over the top of that one, because nothing's drawn on the plan, so I need this will essentially become my plan for the second side. So quite pleased with that, guys. It's all gone in rather nicely, and hopefully it won't weigh too much. The glue has now set, so I'm going to pull the pins out and we'll see what we've got. here we go. First lift in. I've used no CA on this build. It's all aliphatic resin. There's no weight in that. The important bit was these 3 slots and the slot where it probably won't go in yet, but the slot where the dihedral brace goes. Pretty much there. Look, just needs to be angled slightly. Then that motor is going to go on top of there, like that. It'll go in there like that, and that will drop down neatly into there. It's a tight fit. That doesn't go like that, of course. I glued it. So that will go like that. It's only a narrow fuselage, don't forget. It's only 3 centimeters wide internally. Cockpit has to be cut out yet. That will bend in at the front, bend in at the back. Okay, I'm going to get the sanding out. I think it's sanded all flat. Okay, there we are. Good progress. 2 fuselage sides. It's only taken me about, I don't know, 3 days to get here because I've been working. Alright, see you soon. Thought I'd very quickly show you this. I've just pinned up a fin and rudder. Obviously made over length so as I can trim it to fit. Hello. I've just fizzed a bit of white paint on the fittings here because once it's in the aeroplane I can't clean it at all. Clean it, paint it. So I've just fizzed a little bit on. That goes in there for the last time. It's got to come this side like that. I don't think I'll need to, it's just got a bit of paint on it. When the motor's on it, it'll easily go down. Right, I prepared the fuselage side. And that's, I've glued the 2 parts together as well. So that's ready to go in there. That's the starboard side. That slops in there like that and glues in. And likewise with this side. This is where you turn a 2D object into a wonderful 3D object. Like that. I've cut some 3 centimeter wide spacers. That's not one. Just to pop in there all the way down and all the way up the front. A little bit on the root of the main spar there. Okay, and just slide it in. Starboard, yep. Now this has to be placed precisely. Not too precisely, just precisely enough. Like that. I'll get it the other side in, then I can square it up on the bench. Port side, yep. Get it down like that. Slide one of those in there. One of those in there. That looks pretty good, gotta say. Right, I'm going to let that set off and come back to it and put some spacers in and join it here and there. Brilliant. And today's work completes the construction so far. That's the fuselage just about finished. My next job is going to be the cutting out the tailplane out of 6mm foam and the wing, which you can't see, it's all under there, out of 6mm foam. Quite pleased with it. Little hatch comes off like that, be magneted on of course. I know it's not particularly pretty on the front, but that's of course how the original, or at least the one I'm copying, is. It's a slab-sided fuselage, and I know the original isn't, but the idea was just to do a blow-up version of the little MinimumRC glider. So that's what I've got so far. Quite pleased with the motor mount. That's all glued in and working nice. So that goes down like that. So very pleased with that. Next job, as I say, is to cut out the wings, and that will be in part 2 of the video. So if you want to follow along, hit the subscribe button just below and the bell button to be notified, and I'll see you in part 2. Thanks for watching. Cheers guys. Right guys, I've just jury rigged up a speed controller to the motor, and watch this. And that's how it works. Hey, do you want to see that again? All right then. All right then. All right, here we go. That's about half bottle. Oh. Got loads of beans actually. And back down. And that's rather great. That's how it comes alive, isn't it? Let's disconnect the battery. That's how an aeroplane comes alive, and that mechanism works really well. So I've got to admit, I'm highly impressed with that. I'm easily impressed, but that will be the last. This will be the last piece of video before the next part of the construction, but that actually works really nicely. So I'm very pleased with that. That's going to look, and that's got to be, I'll put another cable tie around that, but that's got to be working freely, of course, but just extended the cables. It's a 30 amp speed controller. I've got a ammeter or whatever you call it, I'll put in there, but this will have to be mounted in an airflow somewhere. I might put a little scoop on the side just to keep that cool. But I don't know yet about the battery, C or G. I don't know what. I'll use battery instead of lead, of course. This being C or G is actually pretty much just in front of the main spar. And at the moment, because the C or G moves approximately 5 centimeters, which is a massive amount depending if the motor's down or up. So when it's up, it's going to be nose heavy, and when it's down, it's going to be neutral. But being nose heavy, of course, shouldn't matter because the motor's now up and it's climbing. So yeah, really pleased with that. See you in part 2 for the wing construction and the tail construction. And let's crack on. I think I'm going to cover the fuselage in white solid film, Hobby King film. I ordered one roll too many, so I've got to use that up a bit. And the wings are already white, and then I'll trim it off with a bit of red if I can find some to roughly match the little MinimumRC glider. Okay, see you in the next video.